Okay, can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
First of all, let me go ahead and salute the people that's in here already. Myself, Kermit the Superstar Maker, DJ Punch 317 on all platforms, DJ Dizzy D, who actually was the co-founder of the Nerd DJs. And it was actually his idea for us to do Zoom in the first place. So anything that ever go wrong with Zoom is always his fault. It was his idea. We have Darrell P, who is a management and publishing firm out of Chicago, Illinois. We have John Sly Wilson, who is the person that hooked me up with Joe Jackson, the head of the Jackson family, and a lot of other stuff with John. And also, John is also has been inducted into the R&B Hall of Fame and is part of the R&B Hall of Fame. A lot of other good stuff. LaCarlos is co-founder of Make Your Ear Hot Entertainment out of Chicago, Illinois, with Darrell P. Queen Karen G is actually from Washington, D.C. She's an amazing lady. She does something called a pet room every single Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Clubhouse app. Then we have official Circle City Band, who is Paul Thomas, an OG from Indianapolis, Indiana. And he is he has done a lot of amazing things. He actually has a platinum single on Spotify. He's been doing. And of course, we have Money Matt, who we're interviewing tonight. You'll be hearing more about him. We have artist BBY, who actually is #1 on Digital Radio Tracker this week. This is actually her 4th week, not consecutive, but this is actually her 4th week being #1. She's the first artist that outside of Warren G and Ty Dolla $ign that I work with that's been #1 that long. So congratulations to her for that. We have Chad Gritley, and Chad's twin, look like he's in here too, is an amazing what do you call it, instrumentalist, that kind of thing. Then we have Ed Roth. Names keep moving, slide me down. Let me see. Ed Roth, Jay Cristal, who is the manager of Matt that we're interviewing tonight. Jay Cristal is also a DJ and has a radio station that's part of the Digital Radio Tracker team. We have Kay Swag, who is an artist out of Kentucky. Amazing young lady. A lot of people say she sounds like Fantasia Barrino. We have JoJo out of Greater Cleveland, has a single that charted on Digital Radio Tracker in the top 50s. We have Queen A, who is an amazing young lady out of Indianapolis area, out of Indiana. She's the daughter of David from Highball Entertainment. And we have Travis Shin, who was the first Asian to have a top 5 record on Digital Radio Tracker Top 150. And I go over people again as toward the end. Right now, what I want to do is tell you a little bit about what Matt sent me in the email. Is Money Matt. Money Matt is a motivational hip-hop artist. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. At a young age, Money Matt, better known as Matt Mansour, knew that music was a passion that he couldn't resist. After severe eye injury early on early in Matt's childhood, looking for an outlet as a means of his aggression, Matt started to play sports and find other avenues. He said a teacher once told him, "You're the director of your movie. Each choice you make is a new clip. You may not be able to go backwards, but you control the next clip. Just move forward." That's exactly what Matt did. At the age of 15, he started freestyling. As he said, "I always had used music as a means to get away from my reality and express myself in my own way." After several years as a youth searching for his sound in music and working on his song, Depth and Flow, it took him 5 years to perfect of freestyling and writing for 6 to 8 hours per night. Money Matt, at the age of 22, got his first studio set up and began to record. This led to his debut single, No Beats, Just Bars, which was set to be the foundation of where Money Matt's journey would begin. He sought out to make a motivational hip hop. As he states, we need more positive music to inspire the masses. After encountering struggles early on in Money Matt's career, dedicated to his craft, knew, as he stated, I want to make a name for himself by being a positive leader like an NFL or NBA player to our youth. Money Matt is someone all people will admire, as his positivity not only shows through his music he puts out, but in his genuine demeanor, charisma he brings to the stage, as well as his willingness to work with his peers within the independent music game. Money Matt is a commercialized, as his name sounds, the real reason behind the name being Money Matt. He states that Money Matt means the money would never change me. I had to find my own wave, and I'm riding to the top. You got to catch the wave or drown in it. As an inspired motivational hip hop artist, the genre in which Money Matt claims as his own, from his original style, universal sound, and positive outlook and his inspirational music, Money Matt is aspiring to be one of the biggest contenders in the game today. To date, Money Matt has won 6 awards, along with a Hall of Fame induction in 2023 with the Academia Awards platform, along with 20 times of being nominated across several dozen awards platforms in the last 8 years of being public. I bring to you Money Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. How you doing tonight, sir?
Okay. So how did I do in that bio? You want to add anything to it? Anything?
Now you nailed it. I mean, truthfully, I mean, there's a lot more I could say, right? But honestly, the bio pretty much it stimulates what it needs to be said, you know, and introducing me to people.
Okay. So, something I read in the bio, of course, I was reading, other people just hearing it, and they may or may not understand things. So, give us a recap on what started you on your journey.
So, early on, so I played sports growing up, right? I played basketball, football. I got in a lot of fights because I'm blind in my right eye. I lost it on Easter Sunday when I was 5.5. I was in ICU for almost a year, lost out on kindergarten, had to repeat. And like as I got older, people started bullying me because I was the biggest kid in school, but I was always a nice guy. So I started, obviously fighting with people. As we went through all that, I actually ran into this teacher. It was 7th grade U.S. history class, actually. Her name was Miss Carnes. I'll never forget her. My football coach taught the class, and he was like, Matt, like, you just can't have outbursts like that in my classroom. You're going to have to go in the hallway. The teacher followed him out there and was like, I just want to tell you, you may not be able to go back and change the clip, but you can edit and revise and move forward. Like, that's kind of where all that started for me was, she told me something that made me really think about life in a whole different outlook. Like, yeah, I might have it's like football. You have a bad play, you can come back with an even better play. So that's kind of what I did. And I went through school, 7th, 8th grade. By the time I was about 15 in 8th grade, I think. I ended up starting to rap, and I was into trap music. That was when it was real popular. I was obviously heavily influenced in the streets at that time, not hanging out with the good crowds. So that's what influenced me. That's what moved me. So I started out doing trap music. And as I started learning myself, I started learning like, well, when I have kids one day, what I want my kids to look up to me in the music I'm putting out. So I kind of reformulated myself, sat down, read dozens of music blogs, articles, books, production books, engineering books, videography books, whatever I could get my hands on to understand the music business, because at the end of the day, it's a business. It's not just, hey, I'm an artist, I'm going to put a song out. I wanted to understand the totality of the music in its entirety. I wanted to know, what do I need to do before I release a song? What do I need to do when I drop a song? How to gain traction? How can I organically bring people to me without having to inflate numbers and make it look unrealistic? So that's kind of where it all started for me. I spent about 5-6 years studying the game real hard, listening to other artists and kind of picking up on what and who they were. And that's kind of how I developed my own sound. I kind of took a lot from Elvis Presley. He was one of one, really. I hate to say it that way because I do hip hop. He did rock and roll, but he took rock and roll to another level by divergent and converging all these different genres together to make one sound. And that's kind of where I got the idea from. So I was like, why reinvent the wheel? It's already been created. So I pulled gospel, traditional hip hop, some Christian hip hop in there, and then rhythm and blues a little bit here and there, so I can get the sound I wanted to get. So that's kind of where we're at. And now I've been doing it so long, motivational, that now I got motivational country music, motivational rock songs coming out. Every song I touch, I want to make sure it's remembered as something. If someone hears it and they're young, um, I'm talking like 10, 11 years old, it's going to inspire them to want to do great things for themselves. So,
Oh, okay. That sounds absolutely amazing. How did you come across Jay Cristal?
he actually came across me. So I was 2017 when I came out publicly. I was in a award. I was on an award platform called the UMA's Underground Music Awards. I got nominated for Best New Male Artist. James had just been watching me. He watched me for a long time. It wasn't just like, "Hey, I'm a manager. I'm a manager." It was more like, "Hey, I'm watching you right now." I was like, "Well, why are you watching me if you don't want to manage me? Like, what's the deal?" And he was like, I'm just watching. I just want to see what you're about." And he watched me for about 3 years. And 2020, the end of 2020, he reached out to me and was like, "You know what, man?" He was like, "I can manage you." He's like, "I'd like to manage you. What do you think about that?" I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I was like, because I was already self-managed, self-published. I mean, self-production. I'd done performed in 400 or 500 places by that time. Done shows in everywhere on the East Coast, Midwest you could think of, outside of obviously New York, Maine, that area up in the north. But I mean, he was like, he reached out and we sat down, we talked. I told him what my goals were and aspirations with the music, and me and him been working ever since. And with my dad passing away in February, I kind of took a step back to kind of recollect myself and regroup. And he's still been in contact. We still been pushing the music. We're just coming up with new strategies to reach people. That's kind of the thing. Because when you win all these awards, that's great. It's great to win awards. It's great to be recognized. But if you can't capitalize on the award winning and do something better the next year, and you get stuck in this malicious cycle of doing the same thing over and over again, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to be better every year than what I was the year before.
You mentioned something that I tell artists all the time, as far as being visible. Like you say, you went to, you got the awards. In order to get the awards, of course, you have to sign up for something. You have to participate,
Yes,
get
sir.
involved, shake hands, kiss babies, all that stuff. Seems like you forgot that master.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I actually started everybody traveling out of Cincinnati. Nobody was moving in 2017. Nobody was trying to go anywhere. They just wanted to keep going to open mics. I did about 100 open mics in my city just to kind of get my feet wet to understand what it's like to be on the stage. And just like the moment I did it, I was like, I've loved it ever since. So I started traveling. When I started traveling, I went to Detroit, Columbus, started it up this way, went to Tennessee, went to Atlanta 5 or 6 times, been to Florida, been to the Carolinas, Alabama, Memphis, the Pennsylvania. I mean, I've been up and down the East Coast, really, just because I wanted to pursue my message to people. And the only way you can pursue your message and be an advocate for yourself as an artist is to be in their face, whether they like you or not. There's times I've been places and they didn't like me, but the most love I got was outside of my city, and I recognized that. And then I started getting more love inside my city when other people seen it outside.
Yeah, you just mentioned a lot of good things. One is that a lot of times, like a lot of people, certain cities you can break in your city. Like just to give an example, in 1997, probably before you was born, in 1997, I was in New Orleans, Louisiana, down there with my friend named Neil Levine, who's a famous record exec out of New York, and he was trying to sign Cash Money Records,
Okay.
and he didn't do it. They ended up signing with Universal. But the thing down there is that they had a radio station that played 2 hours of local music every night. I think it was the weekdays for sure, maybe 7 days, but they played it for 2 hours. So that's how Cash Money and No Limit and all those guys was getting all that activity. People was like, it didn't just blow up out of the clear blue. They got support from their own city. But like what you're saying is that a lot of times we got to go outside of our own city and get accepted and then come back and people accept you because you were successful outside of the city and you're just coming home to just respect the people at home. So I get that. So I understand that part too.
Well, I mean, what happened with Cincinnati was I was really in the streets for real. So like I was deep in it. Like I was tied in with people. People had a lot of respect for me that way. But like as soon as I started making positive music and I'm living a certain way at the time, because I'm trying to get away from it. Like at that time, like I'm trying to get away from that lifestyle. I'm trying to do better for my kids because I got 2 kids. I have full custody of them, and I was like, I just can't afford to be in trouble. I've never been in trouble. I don't want to start now. And a lot of times, what ended up happening is I go to an open mic, and my homeboy would be there, and they would know the DJ. And I'm like, yeah, put him on. And then the DJ it's a heavy trap music scene in Cincinnati, so it was hard for me to break through. So when I did break through and reach at least one person, I've been played on the local radio stations here, 101.1 The Wiz, during traffic hour, multiple times, 4 or 5 times a month for 6 months straight. I did the local music events where you submit to the local stations and all that. And like, I got a lot of good feedback. And then I found a song that Cincinnati really liked, which is called Double Up. And they actually aired that for a long time. And I'm still really close with the radio directors down at the Wiz. They're with Radio One. But yeah, no, Cincinnati, it was hard for me to break through at first because I didn't know what angle I wanted to approach it at, because I could approach it one way and come this way, or I wanted to approach it in the sense, I wanted to approach it in a sense of marketability. Like, I don't care about what he or she's doing. This is what I'm doing. So like, that's just how I've always pursued my dreams with music. I didn't want to be like any other artist. I want to be like me.
I hear you. That's a very important comment you just made, because I always ask people, what sets you aside from the next person that's doing what you're doing or similar to what you're doing? What makes you different? Why should I pay attention to you and not say, oh, he's just another whatever, type rapper out here? What makes you different? If you hadn't already said it, what makes you different than the next person that's trying to do what you're doing?
I'm gonna be honest. I think what makes me different is I understand the music business. I've been offered major deals. I declined them all. I got offered in 2017. I had a song called "Came From Nothing." It was about my mom and dad's history, how they came together, what their like the family roots. And Warner Brothers offered me a $3 million contract. When I got the contract, my dad was a he had 4 business degrees. So he taught me a lot about marketing, sales, finance, contracts, contractual law, how it operates. And I remember talking to the CEO of Epic Records, and Warner Brothers called me, and they were going to fly me to Los Angeles on Christmas Day. And I was out there like, all you got to do is go to the airport and you're coming. And I was like, well, I want to see the contract first. And they were like, all right, we'll send you the contract. They sent me the contract. I read it, and I was losing perpetuity to the song in its entirety for the next 10 albums. And I mean, most artists don't make it to 10 albums. Nowadays they do, because you got Spotify, you got iTunes, but it wasn't really popping like that then. So it was more like, do I want to lose my rights in this game to make some money, or would I want to make an impact for myself and learn the business so I can navigate through it? And that's kind of what I did. That's what I think really sets me apart, is I understand copyrights and trademarks and intellectual property, and not a lot of artists do. It's a tough thing to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of artists all the time to see who just want to be popular in their hometown. I actually broke it down. You want to be popular in your house or apartment building. You want to be popular in your street. You want to be popular in your city, your state, just the United States, or you want to be popular all over the world. And I try to find people to network with that want to be international superstars, not just back home. But I'm gonna tell you something I just did. I put the number 513 on my phone, right? And I have over like 30,000 contacts. So I scroll down. You may be too young for some of these names. I'm asking if you know any of these names of people in 513, which is a Cincinnati area code. Do you know Judy Jones? Have you heard that name?
No, I haven't.
Jay Christelle may know her. She was really heavy down there as far as helping break artists. She worked at a company called ARC Distributing back in the day.
Okay.
I'll come up with some more. Wait a minute. You ever heard of an artist named Kay Riley?
Yeah, Kay Riley just died. That was my homeboy's best friend. A couple of them.
Yeah, actually promoted his record back in the day that was on Billboard.
He's a legend. He's a legend, man.
Yeah, his manager and I were good friends. I can't think of his name right now. It may be in this thing.
My condolences to his whole family. He passed away. Sadly, you know, he was a legend. He was well loved by everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to you more about that later because I'm sorry to hear that. Have you heard the name Demetria Donaldson?
That sounds familiar.
DJ Dre.
DJ Dre. That sounds familiar as
DJ
well.
Carnage. DJ Nonstop. Now, here's somebody that
DJ
Nonstop.
Raheem German. I know DJ Nonstop. Me and him linked up. We did a mixtape together back in 2018, I believe it was. Cincinnati to Los Angeles, Volume 1. We hosted a mixtape together. I put one of my songs, and I put every artist I knew that wanted to get involved and try to make a promotion for everybody, because I don't care about. I can take the spotlight, that's fine, but I didn't want the spotlight. I wanted to help other artists understand the music business.
Okay, how about DJ Uwap?
That one I don't think I know.
He was a pretty popular guy several years ago. He used to be on the different calls. How about DJ Retro?
DJ Retro.
Yeah, he's somebody currently doing things down there. I'm in touch with him.
I don't know. I haven't been out at a show in Cincinnati in like 2 years.
No, it's okay. These are just yes or no answers.
Yeah.
There was a record store down there that was real popular called Everybody's Records. You familiar with them?
I heard of them. Yep.
Yeah. I used to go there all the time. Matter of fact, I worked with an artist that did a video there, and her record was #1 in Billboard that I promoted from Cincinnati. Miss Nikki, her name was Miss Nikki. I just found the name of the guy that was the manager of Kay Riley, called himself Fresh Remo. That sound familiar? I forget his real name.
That does sound a little familiar, yeah.
Then I see Ken Riley, which is Kay Riley.
Yeah.
Let me see what's coming.
Man.
Give me 1 second. It's just interesting, just to see, even though you're older. How about a guy named Rashawn, Mr. Mad West? That's probably too old for you. Hold on.
Yeah.
How about Sid Uncle Jams Johnson? He's actually a legend from Indianapolis, but he spent a lot of time in Cincinnati. He's also worked with Babyface and a lot of other people like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I never heard of him.
Tony Marshall. Okay, Will Money is the name I was looking for. You ever heard of him? Will Money?
Nah.
Yeah,
no.
he's a top DJ from that area.
Okay.
I'm just naming names, throwing names out there.
No, I'm gonna check them all out, the ones I don't know.
Yeah, we can talk about that at some time. I'm just looking at stuff. Like I said, Miss Nikki was a lady that was #1 in Billboard. She did a song with 2 other female rappers, and it did real well. Okay. Also, a young lady named Ruby Spicy Smith. We promoted a record on her. And that's what I just want to, just go over some quick names, just to show you how you can pick up your iPhone. I got an iPhone. Pick up your iPhone, put in the area code, and all those things pop up. Like I said, I got 30,000 names in there, so I just hit some of the ones that I remember specifically. Okay. But and going to and getting involved with the events and stuff, and learning the game or whatever. You said you was learning from watching other artists. Now, see, one thing about that is that, of course, I'm sure you listen, you learn, and then you research. So I get it. But a lot of people just start, if somebody got a decent name, they just listen to what they say and they believe it without even checking the facts.
Right,
so I'm not saying that you would do that, but I'm just saying it because we're having conversation for other people on the call and for people that's going to be watching this on YouTube later and other, social media, Facebook, and all of that stuff, right? So we're
Right.
talking about, we're interviewing you, but we're talking about the music business.
Yes,
So
sir.
the ECMD experience, what we're trying to do here is about education, educating people, making them aware of stuff. You have an amazing story, so I'm glad you're here today to share it with us. But do you believe everything that you hear in the business? Like if somebody tell you something, you just
No,
immediately
so
believe
the
it?
music business is smoke and mirrors. I say that because the reason I say that is because you could be flossed out with all the ice in the world and have the nicest car in the world. We got rental cars that you can rent these nice cars from. We got jewelry shops that are willing to loan them to you on loaners for rents. I know jewelry makers in Cincinnati that do that to get their name out there to advertise their business. Um, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. So you really don't. I don't take to the bank what anybody says. Like I don't care if I grew up around professional athletes. My dad was a bodybuilder. He trained Bengals players my whole life. Paul O'Neill from the New York Yankees. I met Derek Jeter a few times. I mean, I've met all these famous people young. So when I got older and I look at these famous people, they're just people. Um, and I say that because the smoke and mirrors aspect is you can inflate your numbers these days and you can lie to people these days, and organic growth can come from a promotional platform like there's one out there that's real popular. I forget the name of it, but they basically pay to promote your song on Spotify, and then next thing you know you're getting flagged by your distributor because you went with poor promotion. So I tell people, like, do your research because that's number one. If you don't know somebody that knows the answer, seek out the answer. And that's kind of what I've done. That's how I came across that's how I know how to file a trademark. I know how to file copyrights. I know how to register with the RIAA. I know a lot of things that a lot of artists don't really take the time to look into because they're just, throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. I'm trying to make a path. So when I'm done with music down the road, or even if I never quit, there's steps there for people to go back. Like I actually tell somebody in a song called "How I Like" how you break onto Billboard, like the schematic scheme of how you get onto Billboard. I know how to break onto Billboard. I know how to break a record. It's just having the people to do it, right? The right people to do it, and that's kind of what me and James talk a lot about. Like he knows my understanding of the game's like way up here. Um, Granted, I'm still learning. I'm always open to learn, and that's what's gotten me this far.
Yeah, you're
Is
definitely
learning.
discussing high level music business stuff here. That's
Yes,
that's
sir.
that's definitely for sure. So I respect that.
Yes, sir.
Um, you know, if, just to give an example of what we're talking about, there was a somewhat famous producer out of Atlanta. I think he's either a Grammy winner or a Grammy nominated producer. And he allegedly took some money from a guy on the Clubhouse app and did a Spotify promotion. And Spotify, flagged him, took it down. I guess they blackball you, whatever. They take you off the
Yep.
thing. You can't get on there no more, whatever. And
Yep.
because you have to know who you're dealing with. And so, somebody like myself, 51 plus years in the game, I have people that I trust, like almost trust with my life,
Yeah.
Then I have, other people that, I have to, check and see what's going on, with
Yeah.
them or whatever. But that just go to show you, just because the guy had a decent name don't mean whatever. And I'm gonna tell you something that I noticed recently. Like I said, this for you probably know this already, and some of the people on the call and people's gonna be hearing this later. That one thing I noticed is that when times start seem like they're getting hard, or maybe like when COVID hit or whatever, or people, like when COVID hit, people, getting laid off, don't know what's going on. You go to the grocery store, can't buy groceries, so people are panicking, right? So I saw
Yeah.
people who I respected and thought they were, good people or whatever. But sometimes I guess when a person get in a bind and they got to decide, do I buy baby milk or do I screw over this artist? And they choose to screw over the artist. And that's something like with me, I'm glad that, money does not motivate me, thankfully. But it's just, I think it's a shame that somebody would do that, like, hey, man,
Yeah.
let's this, let's that, whatever. And all they think about is cha-ching the whole damn time. But you don't
Yep.
know that until it's too late.
Yeah. No, and that's what I think. I think that's where it goes one of two ways, right? Where like you'll always look into who you're dealing with. Like that's where a lot of artists I've noticed that I personally know have gotten done dirty by. Like I brought No Plugs manager. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I did a show in Atlanta, Georgia, in Stone Mountain. I met No Plugs management. The manager ended up something happened with the show. A bunch of artists got confused about where their spots were. I opened up for him at that show, and then I brought them back to Cincinnati, and then they screwed over a couple of my friends in the process. And I ended up, I didn't know what happened until I got home. And I told him, I was like, look, man, like, you got to make sure when we do this show, like, you know what's going on. So I sold them slots. I paid for their slots because I felt bad. These are good friends of mine. And I paid for their slots out of my pocket to make sure they performed, and I didn't perform that night. And they still had me perform at the end of the night because they were just like, the manager ended up getting jumped in Cincinnati over it because he ripped off like dozens of artists that night. There was like 20 of them that didn't perform that paid, and he never paid them back. And I mean, it just kind of goes to show like I need it in writing. Like if you want me to do something, I want it in writing. I don't care about the who, what, where's, and when. Like I don't care about what you're saying to me. I need it in writing. That way I know for certain you can't get me. And if you do get me, I'm using the credit card anyway. So you might get the credit company, but then I'm gonna file a fraudulent charge and get the credit right back. So I've never really used my own personal cash, my personal funds, unless it was a trip, promotions, marketing, flyers in different cities, paying for a show, paying to go XYZ, you know what I mean? So it's really do your due diligence and learn the game, understand how they move, because then you'll know a schemer from a person genuinely trying to help you. And that's kind of how I've navigated myself. Like you get an email from uh interscope@gmail.com, for example. This is a good one because I just talked to somebody about this the other day. They got a record deal in an email. And I said, they ain't gonna reach out to you like that, man. I was like, first of all, check the email, make sure the email is verified. Did you call the record company and ask the person that called you? They were like, no. I was like, well then I hate to tell you this, like it's probably not real. Because they wanted them to pay into something.
Oh my
And
God,
no
we talk about.
label is going to come to you and be like, "Hey, we want to sign you, but we want you to pay $10,000 to be signed." Like that's not realistic.
Well, some of look, I could talk about that all night, but I'm gonna just go briefly and then I'm gonna move on and play your music. But
Yes,
I
sir.
tell the guys, I worked with two artists back a few years ago, and both of them was hit up by a guy allegedly that was Lenny Santiago. Now, Lenny Santiago is somebody real at the time. It was at Def Jam. He also was at Rock Nation. But this was not
Yes.
the real Lenny Santiago. This was somebody using his name. And it was like, I think one of them got like $800, so and so, so and so. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, but we need you to pay $800 for something. We're going to fly you out to Dallas. We're going to fly you. We're going to do this, that, but you're going to pay $800 for whatever it was. Same thing. Another one did the same thing, same name. Come to Washington, D.C., and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And the artists were so excited, they thought I was a hater because I laughed when they told me about it. And then I said, okay, let's get this guy on the phone. The guy answered the phone, like, because they thought they was them calling, but they had me on the three-way. I started talking, and lo and behold, the artist just was sad because it's like, damn, Kermit was right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been got before too. Like, I'm not going to say I have never been got. I have been got quite a few times. I've lost thousands of dollars in this music. But like early on, that's what made me learn more. Cause you get screwed over one time and it may be $400 or $500, but that might have been your paycheck. Like you working a full-time job and paying for your music to be heard, and you're taking these risks. Like you're gonna roll the dice. And I've rolled the dice plenty of times myself. Even I got geez, on a Boo Fest concert, actually. Some guy hit me up acting like a promoter for a Boo Fest concert with Jeezy and T.I. and all them. And I was like, I was geeked and I paid into it. 4 hours later, I was looking at the profile. The profile disappeared. I was like, oh, I got for $400. I was like, that's all right. That's a lesson learned. Like you take the L's and you turn them into lessons. That's all you can do.
That's very true. Can we get into your first song? Here it's called Lonely at the Top. Now, I don't know how you know how lonely it is up the top, but maybe you're thinking about me and,
This song
and
actually, my best friend, his name's Willie Boy Jr. He was on pace to get a record contract from MMG. His best friend tried to kill him in the studio, and he went to prison, and he actually called me the night the murder happened, and I took him and turned him. He had me take him and turn him in. And this song's kind of about that situation, like a little backstory on, what I was going through, like what kind of choice. Obviously, it tells you in the music, but it's one of them ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh. They say it's lonely at the time, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my ground, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day. They say it's lonely at the time, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my grind, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day. I had to change my lifestyle, so my circle changed up. Left the phone line open, cause I never hang up. Never switched on my mans, but the plans changed us. If I say you was my fam, then I'ma ride for you. Say my best friend upstate, he told me never give up. I told him I'ma make sure you straight when you get out. I have a Ferragamo room with a Ferragamo couch, and we had to laugh cause the pain too real. You didn't know me like that when I was in the trap. Never drop a teardrop till you was all alone, and I broke down on my wife's lap when we got home. Said I'ma get it for us, cause I never knew a drought. Used to trap out the front or the back of the house till I almost got popped. Then I dropped out like it's class. Got too much to lose, cause my kids need a dad. The only people that can choose how the life turns out. So I changed for my kids, and I'm never going back. I said I changed for my kids, and I'm never going back. Yeah. I said I changed for my kids, and I'm never going back. They say it's lonely at the time, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my ground, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day. They say it's lonely at the time, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my grind, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day. The things you go through mold you into a better person than you were yesterday. Always strive to do better and be better. Money man. Yeah. They say it's lonely at the top, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my grind, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day. They say it's lonely at the top, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my ground, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day. They say it's lonely at the top, but I'm on my way up. I'm always on my grind, so I gotta stay up. I'm making moves for a better day. I'm making moves for a better day.
Can you tell us about the next song?
The next song is Hits. So that is actually off of The Life of a Blank. It's actually funny how I came up with this. My brother helped me design this, come up with this album name. So it's called Life of a Blank. So it's the life of anybody you want it to be. This song's about, how I kind of, what really turned me away from the streets and, kind of changed my mindset on where I wanted to be and where did I see myself in the next 20 years? Where did I see myself in the next 3? Where did I see myself tomorrow? So it's kind of one of them, like, it's like a very upbeat hype song.
Okay. This damn thing.
All these songs are actually, these videos are all edited by me too, by the way. This was shot in my basement. I make hits. I make hits. Money man. I make hits. I make hits, hustle music, came a long way from jugging and hitting licks. Used to be the one on the app moving bricks till I seen some people die.
Then I went legit, Jordan in my prime in rotation, on air and online. You know what it is when I step in the studio. I make hits, straight drop. Watch me double up my flip on the road, making moves, connecting the dots on every single trip. Pour my blood, sweat, and tears on my energy into this. I've been going hard my whole life, turned a wish into reality. Yes, I built this. I'm done shooting myself with the whole clip. So you know I ain't going for nothing less than perfect. I stay humble and patient, no need for celebration. My resume speaks in several different languages. It is what it is. I chose my grind. I'm not waiting, more like speed racing. I'm about to blow and you don't wanna miss this. My boss so cold, I just might bring back Jack Frost for Christmas. Wanna know why? I make hits. I make hits. But check and get this, the most slept on, but the most anticipated to go off and hit the kill switch. Ain't that some shit? I make hits.
Okay, how do you know you make hits?
I just feedback. That's just what I've been told. Like the feedback has been outstanding because my bars they're well constructed, right? Like I don't really cuss in any of my music. That's a one-off for me. You know, like to have one cuss word in the words, but like I pride myself on being lyrical. A lyrical talent, picking beats that are gonna resonate with other people, making sure that it's widely consumed amongst many people, not just one set of people, if that makes sense.
We just had a long talk about you can't believe what people tell you. Now you telling me people tell you that you make hits and you believe in them.
I mean, it depends on what it is, because like I have a lot of good friends that do radio shows, so like I'll send them raw work, and this is before it gets engineered, and I'm like, you know, I want to get honest feedback. So I'll call my friend. His name's Stress. His name's James, actually. He lives in Boston. He's an industry broker. He did industry work with Atlantic Records, Rock Nation, really well respected. And I would send it to him. He had a management company. And even he was like, you know, man, he was like, I'll be honest with you, like your bars are absolutely impeccable the way you put them together. He was like, as soon as somebody realizes what you're saying and just listens to you one time, I think you're gonna have the songs on repeat, because my music isn't just like you play it once and oh it's a hit. You don't, that's not how you break a hit. You break a hit because you can keep playing it and it never gets old. And that's kind of what I've done. It's like a carousel. You play it one time, you're like, okay, he said something, I'm gonna play it again. And then you're like, okay, that's cool. And then the third, fourth time you're singing it. And that's kind of where it grows. It's music that grows and lasts forever.
Yeah, I definitely. I know how to shove music down people's throat. That's one of my traits. DJ Punch had a question. I don't know if he's available to. He put it in the chat. DJ Punch, you available to ask it yourself? Okay, his question is where do you see yourself and your brand 5 years from now?
To be honest, I see it as one of the top contenders in the Midwest market. Truthfully. The reason I say that is because I'm not just bringing talent and charisma and, you know, genuineness to it. I'm bringing business. I know the business. I understand the business. I understand that if you want to get somewhere, you have to understand where it all started. And I even understand as far back as the 1800s how rap started. That's how serious I am about what I do. I see myself being a very competitive brand in the Midwest market, and I also see myself as a brand to work with other brands within the national market. I mean, I'm one of the only artists in Cincinnati that's in a book. I'm in a literal book that you can buy on Amazon. It's called More Bars with More Ash. So Gumbo Radio Show. They published it out of Atlanta. I've put it in medical dispensaries. I put it in supermarkets. I put it at Walmart. I mean, I've done a lot with just being in a book in my area, because it's being published is one thing, but promoting the publishing is a whole nother ball game. Like you have to sell yourself. Like you don't know me from Adam. So how do I know that, how am I going to sell myself to you? The best way I can do that is just be myself. And that's kind of how I go about it. So I do see myself being a very competitive brand. I mean, I own the trademark, so we just went up against a Bengals player last year. We got a coexistence agreement, so this is going to be a forever kind of thing for me.
Yeah, you mentioned the Carolinas earlier as one of the places you travel to. We have
Yes, sir.
DJ Cat Daddy Marshall from the Carolinas. That he says you definitely know the game. So he said you know the game. He's heard enough to know that you know the game.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I
And I have to
appreciate that.
admit, in talking to you here, you're definitely very knowledgeable. Other than people I've interviewed that been in the business for years, that I've known for years and stuff like that, you probably have more information. You seem to be more knowledgeable than anybody I've interviewed that hasn't been around for a long time or haven't done a lot of stuff that I knew about. That's what I'm
I
saying.
appreciate it. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I kind of pride myself on understanding. Like knowledge is one thing, right? But like having the understanding. So me having contacts with, industry brokers and being able to go, hey, this is how they do it. Like that. And I broke it down, they don't get 1 million views in an hour. They go and pump the views out through a bot program. And that's how they get large labels have massive views, how they break these records. They go, this is how you get on Billboard. So you have a registered song, right? Those songs are also registered on their own ISRC code. You register the song, you get your song with Nielsen SoundScan, right? You get the ISRC code from your distribution. Then you get the video. You get the UPC code for that video. And then you register the drop with SoundScan as a music digital and then as a music video. And then you have to sell, I think it was 500 copies within the first 24 hours of release. So what I tell a lot of artists to do is set your record. If you can't sell 500 in a day, I would set your record out as far out as you think next year. Because as soon as you get all those track records, the day your track drops, all those record sales go on day one. They don't go before that. Pre-sales don't go before that. They go on day one record sales. And that's how you break it.
That's true. I'm gonna pass the mic around some. I'm gonna go to DJ Dizzy D down in Charlotte if he's available. And I'm gonna go to John out there in California. And I'm gonna pass it around even further. Dizzy,
yes, sir.
Are you available, sir?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead. What do you think about some of the things that you heard tonight?
Doing pretty good. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So it's unusual. It should be usual for artists to know the business. I mean, if you're going to become an artist, knowing the business is very important to propel yourself. But at the same time, it's sort of like being a designer, an artist being a designer, and also behind the design is an engineer that makes things work. And I found that sometimes with artists, whether you're a recording artist or you're just painting a pretty picture, combining the two may be rough. And sometimes being an engineer impedes that artist from their flow of things and being himself or herself. So,
yes, sir.
How do you do that? Because I heard a lot of the engineering tonight, and I watched the video, and I heard the song. Now, the same song I took to, it was just more of me. The other one I'd have to listen to a little bit further, but the second was a lot more gritty. It was my style. That was just me. I enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed how the first track you talked about your life,
yes, sir.
And everything that it encompassed. You're a great storyteller. But going back to the point, how do you balance being that engineer of sorts, knowing the business, and also your artistry, so that engineering doesn't impede your artistry because you're stuffy on the one side as an engineer? Go ahead, you got the mic.
Yes, sir. So how I actually started out doing everything, being the producer, being the engineer, being the artist, being the songwriter, being the manager. As I was going along, I did realize that did impede my style. It was debilitating me. So now today, I actually have a full-time producer and engineer. He does all my production work. So I actually spent about $5-6 grand on studio equipment. Same thing the mainstream artists have. I built a studio in my house. I do general contracting work as my other business, and I built a home studio, so I had a place to record at my house. So I balanced the two out very well, because when I was doing it alone with nobody, it was 10 times harder. I was doing everything. I was doing the videos, I was doing all that. So I balanced it by going, how bad do you want it? Like, how bad do you want to be respected in your craft? Even if you never become famous, how bad do you want to be respected as somebody of a person of knowledge? So like, understanding the music business was number one before I ever went public. Number two, how I balanced it was finding the right balance, right? Like you find a balance between work and home. If you work a regular job and then you have your home life. So it's kind of like that. Like I balanced the time out where I would set aside times during the day when I was only just doing an artist. I would do 2 hours as an artist songwriting. I would do 2 hours engineering. I would do 2 hours promoting. I would do an hour finding out the music business, another hour at the end of the night. So I balanced it by spending my 8-hour shift, if you will, understanding where those pieces need to lay so I can understand what I want out of the music. The engineering on the first song was actually engineered by a good friend of mine. He's my producer. His name is Drop Thompson, Drop the producer, and Bill Beats out of Cincinnati. And that was produced by Foreign Beats. I'm taking a lot of pride in buying exclusives because I don't want to have a beat everybody else has. But the balance really, it was hard at first. But now that I've kind of got a team around me, like with James, my management, he handles a lot of promo stuff for me. Drop, he handles all the engineering. I shoot the videos in-house and I edit them in-house because I've already paid for a music video. And when I paid for the music video, I didn't get what I wanted, but he taught me while we shot. I asked him questions. Well, how do you get that angle? What made you want to, how do you make the B-roll? Like, what is a B-roll? Like, what are these terms? Like, explain it to me. And that's kind of how I learned. I ear hustled from people, and then I also researched it from people. Never believe what you hear, right? But, this was a well-respected videographer in my city. His name's Honor Roll Films. Salute to him. But he taught me a lot about understanding the videography portion of it. And then, obviously staying in the now of what mainstream artists are doing. What kind of transitions are they using? What makes it more appealing to the people to draw them in? Hits. That's a really good one because, the off the mic performances, off the porch performances, I think is what it's called, where they have the mic hanging. That song was actually recorded before they ever started doing that. And then that became popular. So like I took a lot of pride in trying to understand what was next, what's in the now and what's next to come, and how do I stay relevant through all these things and make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So now I'm just a total artist. It's great. I love it. I love not being able to have to engineer 8 hours a night, one song and being like, man, I'm missing something. But it taught me a lot about being humble in this game too.
That's good.
Thank you.
For your thoughts.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, before I go to the next person, John, I want to go ahead once again and mention people on the call because it might be my last chance to salute everybody that's still on here. And also, I want to talk about ear hustling when I get through with this. Okay. Let me look at my screen here. Of course, we got, just spoke. We had DJ Dizzy D. Like I said, he was a co-founder of the Nerve DJs back in 2003. And I joined in 2008. And, salute to him. And like I said, it was his idea that we even doing Zoom calls. He the one that it's his fault. If anything goes wrong, it's his fault. He was his idea. And I'll say we also have John Sly Wilson. Like I said, John is in the R&B Hall of Fame. His group Sly Slick and the Wicked is on Motown. And like I said, he introduced me to Joe Jackson, who I was fortunate enough to work with for 14 years. So that was some of the good times of my life. And I think Joe kind of saved my life one day. I was out in Las Vegas and I was about to get heat stroke. And I was like, it was like 112, 114 degrees. And we were walking from a parking lot to a casino. I'm like, man, how you deal with this? I'm like, I think I'm about to have heat stroke. He said, well, Kermit, all you got to do is put a hat on your head and that'll keep the sun from hitting your head. I'm like, oh, hell, why didn't I think of that? So salute to John. Okay, we have my twin, ECMD Experience on here. That's Miguel Nunez is a famous actor that we interviewed, and I, do promotions for him. So I always try to give him some publicity on the Zoom calls. Then we have Queen Karen G, Mommy Activists and Sons, is one of her companies. She does a pet room every single Sunday at 5:30 on the Clubhouse app. and she's from Washington, D.C. John is from Los Angeles, originally from Cleveland. DJ Diddy D is originally from Cleveland, but he's now in Charlotte. And we have Felicia D864 on all platforms, Felicia Drummond. She's a rapper out of Greenville, South Carolina. And she's had some amazing hit records out herself, and representing the Carolinas great. Then we have Isla Reezy is in here. Reezy he's a Afrobeat artist. He's the first, he's the most successful Nigerian Afrobeat artist on the top 150 chart on Digital Radio Tracker in history. So he's the most, he's had the most activity, and he's been #1 for 3 weeks. Salute to him, over his time. We got, of course, your manager, Jay Cristal, and everybody knows him. He's real famous out here in this game. Supportive guy, do a lot of good things. Then we have Chad Gridley is an instrumentalist. The thing I like about Chad is that he does a lot of, things like, old school stuff. Like I had him do a remix on a song. He sent it back, but I thought I was listening to Barry White of the Love Unlimited Orchestra or something. He's really, got it down as far as that instrumentation stuff. Then we have Dorel P. and LaCarlos Riviera. They have those red ears profile up. They're co-founders of Make Your Ear Hot out of Chicago, Illinois. They're actually the first company I ever worked with that had 2 artists that had #1 records on DRT and that were #1 for 3 or 4 weeks. And I think about half this year they've had artists on the chart. So salute to them for that. They're a management company and publishing company out of Chicago, Illinois. Make Your Ear Hot. And we have Ed Roth. I don't know Ed, but I appreciate Ed being here. And Ed can unmute later, tell us about himself and who he is, if he'd like. Then we have Kay Swag, who is a singer out of Kentucky. And a lot of people say she sounds like Fantasia. So you got that good, strong voice. Then we have Artist BBY. Artist represents North Carolina. She represents Atlanta and Los Angeles. She had a song recently. Matter of fact, it's #1 this week on Digital Radio Tracker. This is her 4th week being #1, not consecutive, but her 4th week. And the only other artist that I've worked with that was #1 longer than that was Warren G and Ty Dolla $ign. And that song back in the day. And so she's, she's kicking it. Then, of course, we got Chad's twin, Chad Gridley, he, him. And that's Chad as well. Then we have Queen A, who I believe is out of Indianapolis area of Indiana. She's the daughter of the famous David from Highball Entertainment. And she was an amazing artist herself. Then we have a guy that I call the Laughing Hyena, but that's only because I love him. And he was on a Zoom call. I didn't know who he was. He was laughing crazy. And I kicked him out the Zoom call and reported him because I didn't know. And come to find out it was one of the host's cousins. And he was a great guy. He's one of the few people I see that comment on my post and Queen Karen's post on a regular basis. So salute to him for paying attention and doing that. Then we have DJ Punch 317 on all platforms. DJ Punch, we call him the award-winning DJ Punch. He also is the person that got most of us on Clubhouse, or as he said, when he on December 15th was his 4th year on Clubhouse. So I congratulate him on that. And he said, yeah, it reminds him of 4 years he had to beg me to get on Clubhouse, what he says. Of course, we know that's not true. Then we have, and he's from Indianapolis. Then we have model Candace Smith. She's a published model out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Then we have Sincere Ray, the PPE. I don't know where she's from because she claims so many cities. Indianapolis is just one of them. She didn't claim Minnesota before. She didn't claim Florida. So I don't know what she want to call home, but she can tell you that later. And last but not least, I used to introduce this guy last because he's the multi-platinum, a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter producer, Michael J. Calhoun, who co-founded the legendary group The Daz Band with that song, Let It Whip, Whip It Baby. Yeah, that song there. Michael's also been inducted into the R&B Hall of Fame, just like John has. And Michael has made history in the last few years by charting in 6 different genres of music. And that's some of the people that we have on the call right now. Of course, we've had people earlier, people come and go. But I want to definitely do that. Now, you mentioned the term earlier, ear hustling. Now, I got to ask you your age now, because you done said a word. So tell me your age.
I'm 34. I turned 35 on March 6th.
Okay, I thought you would be older than that. Because
Yeah, I
ear
tell
hustling
people.
was somebody told me, like, man, don't be letting nobody ear hustle you. Because I do,
Yeah.
you know, like my thing is like I'm not money motivated, and I believe in like helping people, help pursue their dreams and stuff, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm not like, just trying to figure out, okay, what can I charge and what can I charge? I don't knock the people that do. You got to do what you got to do, right? But it's like when people ear hustle you, like I'm not gonna let nobody just sit there and have a list of damn questions just to ask me over and over this question, that question, this because of ear hustle. So I just want to mention that because that was a interesting term that I heard that stuck in my brain. Okay,
yes, sir.
I'm going to you now, John. John Sly Wilson. It's an R&B Hall of Fame, Sly Slick and Wicked, former Motown artist. Go ahead, John.
Well, hello everybody. My brother Matt.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Ohio, and I like what I heard. I think that you have a lot of potential, and I really commend not only your music but your ethic. My group's been together now for 54 years. And when we got with James Brown and we came out here and do Soul Train, he used to say, remember 10% show, 90% business, show business.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And so, you keep on learning the business because it's not only a domestic business, but it's an international business,
Yes, sir.
and you keep on learning, keep on striving, becoming a businessman, but also have people around you who know the business. And that's not only the business of what is a recording contract is about, but also that is a real producer, a real engineer, a engineer that knows how to do analog and also know how to do digital. My friend Mike Calhoun will probably talk later. Mike and I and Kermit, growing up in the same neighborhood, and Mike and I, dreamed of having not only a group and being in the business, but winning a Grammy. So we're both Grammy winners now. So you keep that same spirit going, learn the business, get people around you who do know the business. And
yes, sir.
You'll keep riding this all the way to the end. So good luck to you, my brother.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that, John. Speaking of Mike Calhoun, he can't unmic because he's in rehearsal. He has a show New Year's Eve in Las Vegas, actually. So I guess they're rehearsing for their show in Las Vegas. But like I said, we got two people in the R&B Hall of Fame in here. Grammy winners and Grammy nominating people, all kind of good stuff.
Yeah. Salute to y'all. Salute to you guys. Can I just say that? Can I say that out of respect? Like, salute to you guys for what you guys have done just in music, period. Like, I appreciate them. I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate your guys' time as well. So,
no, all we ask, my brother, is you keep on making good music and keep us alive.
Yes, sir.
Like I say, Mike and I, and Michael Calhoun and Kermit and I have been, had these dreams when we were young. We realized it, and I'm going to say this, I hope I don't want to embarrass Kermit, but Kermit is one of the greatest marketing and promotion men in the world. I remember when he first had his his record store in Cleveland, and, he wanted to do the right thing by the artists, and help promote their records. And, he has broken ground and gotten all types of awards for him promoting and marketing people. And again, he had a dream, and I watched him live his dream. Calhoun, I first saw playing the guitar in a little club in Cleveland. Now he's also too a Grammy winner, and and sold millions and millions of records, and I'm very proud of him. So you just keep on going, and make excuse me, everybody else, but make Ohio proud, brother, because Cincinnati, the Zap, Zap and Isley brothers out of Cincy, man.
Yep, the Isley brothers. Yep, you know it.
Right,
I'm old school when it comes to that. I love the Temptations, James Brown. You put some old school on for me, and honestly, that's what music really was. You know, like the way music is nowadays. Like it's just there's no substance no more. Everybody sounds the same. So like I strive to be sounding different. I want to be sounding different. I want you to hear my song and be like, whoa, what is that? Or whoa, what maybe I need to re-listen to that because I didn't catch that all the way. So
But you know what, brother? You have the power to change it to do anything, right? So
yes,
if you know if you hear that sound in your head and you still want to pay homage to people like me and Mike, Calhoun, and you do it, man. You have that power in you. You're
yes, sir.
learning the business, man. Just like you said, the record companies offer you 3 million. You turned it down because it wasn't right. We first signed with Paramount, then we went to Polygram, then we went to the OJ's label, and then we went to Motown, and then we went to Epic. But when we went to those labels, we wanted to make sure that we were treated fairly. you know.
Yep.
And so, sometimes like my father used to say, some money costs too much money,
Yes, sir.
you see.
Yes.
So, you know, if you want to keep on doing it, you just do how you feel. You see what I'm saying? And make your own sound. Don't be a cookie cutter.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's it. I don't want to be a cookie cutter. I want to be the guy making the cookie cutters for everybody else.
There you go. So like they say, when the needle drop, they know that's Money Mac.
Yes, sir. Hey, when I go out in Cincinnati now, they know it's Money Man. I have DJs hit me up like, "Can I get you to come out and perform?" Because my music, in performance wise, like it puts people in a good mood. It has a good positive energy. The aura of the music. I don't drink or smoke before I go on stage. I don't drink or smoke before interviews. I don't drink or smoke really at all. You know what I mean? I'm drinking water in our interview. Like I take what I do very seriously. There's a time and place to have fun, and there's a time and place to conduct business. And the time and place to have fun is not while you are conducting business.
And I agree with you. And one last thing I want to say to you, I really commend you again for doing, positive rap, because when I was doing an interview not too long ago, they asked me, of all the things that I've done in my career and the records I've sold and the people I produce, what I'm most proud of. And my answer was, I never made a record I couldn't play for my mother.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. I actually started making music for my children.
Right.
I want them and my kids to be able to listen to me. And "Lonely at the Top's" my son's favorite song, actually. So it's win-win for me. So the fact that I'm able to touch people's lives, that's just a bonus for me. Like I enjoy wholeheartedly what I do, to the point of, if I have some knowledge to share, I want to be able to help the next person, because that's how you get from point A to point B. You don't get from point A to point B by stepping on people's head. I mean, you can, but you're going to get screwed over in the long run, because because God has the final say in it all. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Well, peace to you, brother. Like I said, and
Yes,
I'll
sir.
be
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
welcome.
Okay, well, John trying to get me the crowd over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself a little bit. My name is Kermit the Superstar Maker, 51 plus years in the game. I've had over 200 number one records in the Billboard magazine. I have over 200 gold and platinum records. The former president of Death Row Records, Kevin Black, came to Indianapolis, Indiana one time, called me up on stage. DJ Punch was there. He said the Death Row would not be where it was where it was that day if it was not for me. I actually have the clip on my YouTube channel to say that it's true, so I'm not just talking. And the same guy, Kevin Black, came to Cleveland in 2013, presented me with a Living Legend Award. So I just want to throw that out there too. So he's not lying about everything. He just lying about some of the stuff about me.
And that ain't all about Kermit. As I said, I'm sorry to interrupt again. Kermit, I want to thank you, man. You've been a great brother. And as I said, I saw you with, with your first, record store, and you built it all the way up till now, brother. I am so proud of you.
Yeah, and Mike Calhoun made a comment one time, because Mike Calhoun discovered Skip Martin, that was the lead singer of the Daz Band at one point, and also the Kool in the Gang. And he was saying that you never forget the person that gave you your first break. And so I don't forget either. The guy that got me in the music business, name is Jim Stevens. He was a DJ on the AM radio station, WABQ 1540 in Cleveland. and he took me over to this guy's record store. I was doing street team marketing promotion stuff back then. At that time I was 21, but I had been doing it since I was 19. And excuse me. And so I did a promo for the guy, and the guy said that he was like the 5th largest store in Cleveland at the time of independence. I did this promo, and he jumped from number 5 to number 1. So he said, I don't want you to ever promote another record store ever again. I want you to be my partner, but not at this store I got now. I want you to go open up another store. And I did in Painesville, Ohio. And that's where I got my start with him. We worked together for over 10 years, and we had as many as 5 stores at one time. And it was a great experience. But like I say, Jim Stevens was the one that introduced us. And I had a lot of good mentors in my life. That's why I don't mind helping people, helping artists pursue their dreams, because I had people to help me pursue my dreams, and they'd help me for free. I didn't have to pay them to help me to pursue my dreams. So that's what motivates me to help people. So I just want to let y'all know about that.
That's awesome. Hey, wait a minute. Kermit, does Matt know about you doing Bone Thugs?
He may or may not know that, but most people know me because I discovered Lazy Bone back in 1992. Then the rest of the group came along, and I'm actually the person that actually introduced them to Eazy-E, not whatever you see on the internet. And I had actually met Eazy-E, I think it was like a Thursday. I was out in California at a thing called Black Radio Exclusive Conference at the Sheraton Hotel on Airport Boulevard. I was downstairs in the ballroom talking to him and told him he was going to see a group when he go to Cleveland. That's going to remind him of his group, NWA. So I told him that, and I called the guy. Bone was performing, not performing, but Eazy-E was performing at a place called Verts, which is owned by Gerald Levert and a guy named Reno Brown and David Beck. So I called Reno, who was working that Sunday night, and said, hey, I want you to get Bone backstage to meet Eazy-E. They got backstage. There's video footage on YouTube of, I think it's Crazy Bone auditioning for Eazy-E. Then I had somebody give him the cassette before he got on this plane going back to California. How I know for sure he got the cassette was there's a video on YouTube where a guy was interviewing Crazy Bone, trying to get him to say something negative about me, a hater. But anyway, in the video, Crazy mentioned about Eazy-E, said, get that red tape away from me, because the cassette was a red cassette. So, and Eazy-E was a Crip. So, that no, he definitely saw it because he knew what the color was. But yeah, that's what most people know me from that. But that's to show you like an interesting story like that. But that's not even one of the most amazing things I've done. I actually did that Kaya record, My Neck, My Back, back in 2002. And I did that with 2 broken ribs. I was the street team guy. I was a distributor and marketing person. And of course, I coordinated with the radio and video people. And she went gold, almost platinum. We did about 100,000 units independently, and she went gold, almost platinum when she got her deal with Artemis Sony Red. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I'll stop it there. Anybody else want to make a comment or ask a question? I know Chad probably want to say something, because he normally say something when I have John and Mike Calhoun and people on here like that. That's interesting. Are you available, Chad?
Hey, Kermit, thanks, man. How you doing?
Okay.
Hey, Matt. Cool stuff, man. I really like the message. You mentioned Elvis. My mom was a big Elvis Presley fan, and in fact, her favorite movie was Blue Hawaii, which was a classic one where he was named Chad in that. That's where my name came from, so it's my namesake. That's awesome. But yeah, man, I really appreciate your positivity, family-friendly vibe. Really cool stuff. And yeah, it's good to get to hear your stuff, man. I appreciate it. And respect, John. Salute. Hey, man. Hey, Sly. Michael. All the folks. Hey, guys. Good to see you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man,
speaking of positive music, do you have any songs with explicit lyrics?
Do I?
Yes.
So Hits, I mean, not really. I mean, to be honest with you, Hits has one cuss word. You heard it. I said shit, part of my language. I have another song that says ass, but that's one word. It's called The Long Way. And they played that on the radio, and they actually didn't even catch it until after they played it 5 times. And then I made a clean version, but I have like 3 songs out of 30 that are out that have one cuss word in them. And it's usually it's usually a point of emphasis if I said it. It wasn't said in a demeaning way. I don't have demeaning music. I actually have a Christian rap song out right now called While You Were Waiting. It's literally Christian hip hop. That's how I put it out. It's like the video is coming soon, but I basically none of my music is really explicit. Like I have a song, the feature with Rick Ross, that's explicit, but my verse isn't. So I had to get a radio ready. Everything I make is radio ready. So if it's not radio ready, I get a radio ready copy. I make sure I get my instrumentals, beats, separate from the vocals, get the masters of the vocal stems, just the vocals in case DJs want to mix them down on 90% of my songs. There's a few out there I don't have the stems to, but I really don't have explicit music where it's you can't play. I actually how I promoted myself to Procter and Gamble in Cincinnati was you can play me in front of your baby, you can play me at a strip club, you can play me at a graduation party, you can play me at your best friend's wedding that's turning 65. I am the most widely accepted genre of music out today.
Yeah, you said something very interesting. Though, you said like the words that you mentioned. I've had a deal with Universal since 2010, right? And I was getting ready to put out this guy. He happened to be from Chicago too, and something told me because I have other people on my team that actually put the stuff out. That actually would actually do like all the registration, everything loaded up and all of that. But anyway, so something told me. I said, let me listen to this damn record. Let me go listen to this again. Intently. Like I said, I thought you said something on your song, but I wasn't really sure because I'm multitasking, right? So anyway, so I said, let me listen to this guy's song again. And he had the S word in there and the N word in there. And I'm like,
oh yeah, no.
Damn, I almost mistakenly, like how you said people don't pay attention sometimes. I almost mistakenly put this record through Universal System and not having explicit lyrics in it. And I asked him about it. He said, well, he did not know that the N word or the S word were explicit lyrics. I said, I'll be damned.
That's awesome.
See, people,
and
of course, now where people, saying are able to say bitch on TV, to me, if I say give me a clean song, I don't want bitch in there either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
no.
like, don't go by, back to what we said about, what you see and what you hear.
Yeah.
Go by what is needed. I need it to be 100% clean, not bitch every word just because you heard that on TV and they played it on TV. No, I need something that has nothing that offends anybody at any age.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of it is, like how I look at my artistic ability is if I got to say a cuss word and I can't come up with a word that makes sense in what I'm saying, then I shouldn't be writing that song to begin with. That's kind of how I look at it. So a lot of times I didn't say a cuss word because I didn't have a better word. I said a cuss word as a point of emphasis, like how at the end of hits, I was like, ain't that some shit? Like it's just like a figure of speech. But like I pride myself on that. Like, being able to go, hey, I can send you 18 songs and none of them have cuss words. I can send you unreleased music and none of them have cuss words. I can send you a country song and none of them have cuss words. You can play me in front of your kids and feel good knowing at the end of the day that you don't have to worry about the fact of, am I going to have to cut this off halfway through the song? Because that's never the case.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Okay, anybody else have any questions, comments before we get out of here tonight? Going once, going twice, going 8 times. Okay. Yeah, we had, definitely appreciate you jumping here with us tonight. You gave a lot of good information. Like I said, the ECMD experience is about education. And hell, you probably gave more educational comments than anybody I've ever interviewed.
Thank you.
Because we sharing stuff, like I say, not just for people on here right now, but people's going to watch it later.
Yes, sir.
After I have you edit it for me. But
I have one question, Kermit.
Go ahead.
Money Matt, again, at the beginning of the interview, you said that was it Warner Brothers offered you $3 million?
So Warner Brothers and Epic it was like a combined deal. They called me Christmas Eve. I believe the CEO of Epic called me. My wife was sitting right next to me. I was outside. I was smoking cigarettes at this time, so I was outside smoking a cigarette. And he's like, yeah, this is, I think his name was Andy, I believe. And he was like, hey, I'm from Epic Records. I was like, okay, man, whatever. Like, I'm like, whatever, dude. He's like, no, I'm literally, I have a flight book for you at CVG to go come out here and talk with a deal with Epic and Warner Brothers on Christmas Day, and we're gonna sign you. And I was like, that's fishy. Like, my dad was a fraud investigator. He did certified fraud examination, so I automatically was like, oh, this is a setup. So I asked for the contract. So I always wanted the contract first. So I want to read what I'm getting into. And when I read through it all, I wasn't just losing my brand. I was losing my identity as an artist. And I didn't want that. And
Can
I've
you
never
can you expound a little bit on that? I'm just interested. Yeah.
so like what I mean by that is like I had five albums ready to go before I had 84 songs pre-recorded before I dropped one. Um, they told me the next 10 albums I'd lose all mechanical rights. It'd be like a 10% 90 split on all mechanical rights. And then I would lose in perpetuity or up to 20 years of whichever came first of the actual master recording, owning my masters. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't want to lose my master. That's my body of work. That's where the money's at, is in your master. It's not in what you put out in the MP3. It's in your actual master files. And what I mean by master files, I'm talking about your beat without your voice. That's mastered. Your beat with your voice. That's mastered. Your acapella without the beat. That's mastered to the beat, but the beat's then removed. Like, I'm talking about those components of the music. And I was like, I just can't, I don't want to do that. It's not a win for me. And then I did the math on it. It was a $3 million deal, 10-year deal. You do the math, that's about $30,000 a year. I made more at Amazon delivery driver at that time. I was making 42 as a delivery driver at that time than to take a $30,000 deal for 10 years. Yeah, I was going to get the money up to me, but it was about $30,000 or something like that, was what I came out to, rough figures. And I was like, no, it's not. That's bottom of the barrel. I'm still at the bottom in my mind.
One comment to that is that a lot of people look at it like this. You say $3 million, right? A lot of people say, okay, they'll deal with the 3 million and make money, whatever, whether it's investments or whatever, right? You got that part. Also, in the music industry, like I said, I've been around 51 years. It was very normal for them to say, well, I don't know about the 10 years and stuff, but back in my knowledge, it was like most record deals back in the day was like 5 to 7 years, right? And 5 to 8 years,
Okay.
what I was hearing. And the thing would be is that when you put a record out and it's on, say, Warner Brothers, okay, you can redo it, but you have to wait 6 years to put it out. Back then, this is some of the stuff I was hearing. You have to wait like 6 years, and you can put it out again fresh as, your name, your label, another label, or whatever. And then of course, you have people that sample stuff and all of that. And I paid for a sample by a guy named we had Edwin Bird's song "Rapper Dapper Snapper." I paid $10,000 for the damn sample. Didn't even make $10,000 on the damn record, but I was as young with a bunch of money. I don't know what the hell I was doing at the time. Working with an artist working with a guy out of Long Beach, California. He was a Crip member. And I worked with him, and I worked with him in Cleveland, which was a blood city at the time, and I'm managing the Crip. So you know how that went. But anyway, also you mentioned the street. Now, you say you were deep in the street or whatever. So did the street give you a lot of education as far as, like I know about the scamming part, and probably the street helped you with that. But what else did the street help you with educational wise?
Actually, truthfully, so I was 10 years old. So I lived in all right, so my dad was from Beirut, Lebanon. He's from third world country. He lived in the suburbs. My mom lived on Section 8. So I got to see the duality of both worlds. And I didn't like rich people, and I thought they were stuck up. So I always went to lower class people because they seemed like that's where the genuineness was. So I ended up getting affiliated and tied in with Bloods in Cincinnati. My cousin, coincidentally, was a Crip in Covington, Kentucky. Where does that sound? So I got a lot of knowledge from the people around me, a lot of older guys. I was hanging out with guys, I'm talking about twice my age, 2-3 times my age. They're giving me the advice like, Matt, you don't need to do this. This isn't for you. Like, this isn't This isn't a place that you just, you're going to end up in jail or you're going to end up dead. And those are your two outcomes here. Like, and that kind of resonated with me. And over time, people kept telling me the same thing. What actually really changed my mind, so I grew up in between Ohio and California and Mission Beach, 858. My uncle lived out there. We basically grew up between the two places because during the summer, we go out to California, spend the whole summer, spring breaks, Christmas, Thanksgiving break, whatever have you. So I got to see how far ahead California already was. And I ran into this guy. His name was Hams from the Watts Projects. He was a rapper and he did motivational hip hop. And me and him were talking and he was like, man, you look like you're affiliated. Like, what's up, bro? Like we were just chatting or whatever. And he was like, I just want to tell you one thing, man. Like, I want you to listen to this album. I think it'll give you some insight. And when I listened to it, he talked about how you should pick up a book instead of go pick up a gun. And this guy was, lived in the Watts Projects. Like, it's one of the worst areas there is, in probably the United States, I would say. I don't know if that's true, how true that is, but it's one of the tougher areas. And when I listened to this tape, it really changed my outlook and perspective on things of, okay, yeah, but then, I kept down the path and then I had two kids. And that's really what changed it for me. I remember my son was 1.5 years old, in his diaper. And I had just made some money. And he's looking at me after the fact. Like, he wasn't in the room, but like he came walking around the corner and he had his cup in his mouth and he just looked at me and I was like this look of disappointment in his eyes. And that's really what changed my life. My kids saved my life, for real. It really changed me.
Well, I'm gonna share something that you were talking about earlier about, or John commented on it too. He said that all money not good money. I had a situation about 10 years ago where I was offered $2 million marketing money to market an artist. The money was coming from the Russian mafia.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, I was working with 7 other people. So I had to check with them to see, if they wanted to do the project. And because they wanted, I don't fear nobody. I'm not scared of dying. I'm not going to screw over nobody. So unless somebody just absolutely crazy doesn't want to do something, or what it is. But my thing was, I don't care if they had my name, phone number, picture me, video me, whatever. But I'm not going to do anything to endanger myself. But anyway, it was 8 of us that had to work at the project. 4 of the 8 did not want to get involved, so I couldn't go with the 4. And so it was just interesting because I had no problem. I had a couple of people that didn't have a problem, but I had people that were seriously like, "Oh no, I'm not taking my money from the Russian mafia. I didn't give a damn who the hell. I take money from anybody if it's about real business." I mean, they were serious. This was serious business. It was a guy out of Florida that was the artist. He had already done some amazing things already. Kind of like yourself. So he already had like a story behind him. He already had like a lot of content out. He had a lot of like videos that had numbers on them. He already had done stuff. He was just trying to go to that very next level, and he got somebody behind him that was willing to do it. But everybody didn't want to take the damn money, so I had to pass on it.
Yeah, no, that's kind of you. I own 2 businesses. So my other business is MJL&B Landscape and Exterior Design, do interior, exterior remodeling, and even in general contracting work. All money is not good money. Like, you deal with people, you never know what people were into. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I guess the street side really made me savvy in that manner of being able to differentiate. I also have I hate to sound like crazy, but I have a crazy connection with God. So like, because I lost my eye on Easter Sunday, I blamed God for a long time in my life. And that was when I was living all wrong. And I was 23 years old. I woke up on the Easter Sunday. I used to not celebrate Easter. I woke up on the Easter Sunday when I was 23, and I was like, man, if I was just listening to my dad and not doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, I'd still have both eyesight. This ain't God's fault. This is my fault. And then I started praying more and becoming more connected. And I actually built my studio in the darkest place in my house, which is in the basement against a concrete wall. Because that's like my prayer room. So like the music comes through me. It doesn't come to me. it's really, that's the best way I could describe it. It's a part of who I am, like my DNA. You know, like it's like I'm not saying these things. It's like God saying them through me when I'm on the microphone. If that makes sense. Sounds crazy, but that's how I feel when I'm in the moment. Because I'm sober in the studio. I don't know how many times you're going to hear that. I'm sober in the studio. I'm sober on the stage. I pray to God before I step on the stage. I pray to God before I get into the studio. And that's where the music comes from. Like me talking about, like, that's While You Were Waiting is a good example of that. I wrote that song, and it's about a man who was living through hell on earth, if you will, and met the devil on earth. And the devil took him to hell. And then God came down from heaven and saved the man as he's walking through the depths of hell with God. And he's showing him, like, this is what hell's like. He was with Jesus. You know what I mean? This is what hell's like if you choose to go this route. And that's kind of what the song embodies a little bit. And that's produced by Progression Music. So I mean, I could talk for hours about it. I'm very passionate. I mean, I know you guys are limited on time, but I'm very passionate about what I do, and the message is more important to me than a dollar amount. And that's really kind of how I look at the viewpoint. Like, if I got to sell myself out I really looked at the record deal as I was getting shelved for doing something different. That was a lot of it too. That was a thought that came through my mind. Yeah, I'm gonna make this money, but I'm gonna be shelved for this long, and they wanted me to change the dynamics of who I was as an artist, and I just wasn't. I don't want to do that, you know.
Okay, yeah. I also want to salute Brent Barlow for coming in here from Los Angeles as well. You know, to see it come in, and a couple of course, you know, people coming and going because, you know, like you said, they limited in time, but I'm not limited in time because, like I tell you, the ECMD experience is every other Tuesday. It's about having an evening with somebody to dig deep into their life or whatever. Now, I didn't give it a chance to dig into Jay's thing. So, Jay, you there, Jay? Jay, wake up, Jay.
He's a soft-spoken man.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make him come back New Year's Eve. That's our next call is New Year's Eve. I'll make him come back New Year's Eve and talk a little bit then. So
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. I'll be honest with you. James is the most soft-spoken guy I've ever met in my life, but that man has gone miles for me. Like, he has gone the distance. Like, this chain I got on my neck was a Christmas gift from him. I paid this man no money as a manager. He is doing it for the pure love of Money Matt. So, like, that's my boy.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm just on the road driving.
okay, that's no problem. So now Matt said you found him. So now are you still looking for people to find, or what do these artists need to know about you?
Yeah, yeah. Right now, I'm looking for Southern soul artists, and looking for blues and jazz artists. So do you hear me?
Yep, we can hear. So you're kind of like me looking for stuff that's different. You tired of the same old all the time. You want to find out something different because you know, like I know, the music industry looks for the next new thing, not
Yes.
for clones of what already exists, right?
Right.
Okay. But I'm gonna still have you come back and I'm gonna drill you. I'm not gonna drill you tonight. Give you a break since you're driving. I want you to have an accident or nothing. Give you a break. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Anybody got any last comments or questions before we get out of here tonight and let Money Matt go? All right, Money Matt, we appreciate you coming here. And like I said,
I appreciate you.
an evening with Money Matt. So you see us, you know, I'm sure it's a little bit different than a lot of other calls that you've been on. But salute to the ones that do their thing. But our thing is to really dig deep into a person. And we probably will invite you back next year for things to even dig deeper. That's one of the reasons why I read your bio at the beginning, because that way when we post this on YouTube, people are going to hear, you know, whatever we discuss, they're going to hear it in that bio that I was reading.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. I wanted to say shout out to everybody in the chat too. I was reading the comments as they was popping on the screen. So I appreciate everybody that was giving feedback or even commenting or even tuned in. Like, one person, 100 people, it don't matter. Just one person is good enough for me. Y'all's time is important to me too. So I appreciate you guys for giving me the experience of your life as well. It's meaningful, very meaningful.
Yeah, I appreciate this many people being on here this late at night in some places. We
Hey,
started at 9 and it's almost 11. So
I appreciate it.
thanks
I
again
do.
for coming, Matt. Thanks everybody for coming. And our next call is 2 weeks from tonight, New Year's Eve, 9 o'clock. Hope to have some kind of special night, New Year's Eve. So hopefully everybody can come back, at least spend an hour with us. Because if you spend an hour, even from 9 to 10, you still got 2 hours to get to somewhere by midnight. So, come by and visit 2 weeks from tonight, New Year's Eve. We'll have something good for you. And of course, only the normal next call is on Thursday, but they're not going to have a call until January 9th for the next Thursday call. But on Monday, every single Monday, DJ Punch is on here. DJ Punch 317 on all platforms. DJ Punch 317 have Mixaholic Monday every single Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 o'clock on the West Coast. That's every single Monday. And then the Tuesdays every other Tuesday. So not next week, but the week after that. Thanks again, Matt and Jay Cristal. And we will talk to everybody later.
Yes, sir.
Next Monday and see you 2 weeks from today. Have a nice
Yes, sir.
time.
Happy holidays to you guys.
All right, thank you. Somebody trying to get in. Who's on? Oh,
Christmas guy.
Clean coming in.
you said what?
I said come clean was trying to come in.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see him now.
Hey, Grease.
Come clean, you late. Come clean. We ending the call. But
I've been
thanks for
listening the
coming
whole
in.
time, but he's late. Though I have to tell him what went on. Peace and hair, Grease,
Come
y'all.
Clean has a call on Wednesday nights. He's doing something this Wednesday, but he's not going to do it next week because he wants to celebrate Christmas. But he's going to do something this Wednesday. We'll find out. But it's 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. And thanks everybody for coming. Everybody have a blessed evening. I see Matt came on camera. Not Matt.
Yes,
Chad came on camera. So Chad getting ready to record something more than likely. He can record one of them hits again. But thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you soon. Good night.
Yes, God bless. God bless.
All right.